Welcome back to another episode of Catching Colorado. And today in the vise I have a rainbow Nite Brite Perdigon fly. This is a size 14 and I saw this pattern on Google and I loved it. And I was like, I gotta tie one of these. So the truth is I've never fished it, but I'm going up to some high altitude lakes and I'm going after cutthroat. And I figured this would be maybe the perfect dropper fly. Very attractive, something they can see easily in the water, but still mimics very natural forage. So I'm going to show you how to tie this up. I believe this is called the Nite Brite. And again, this is the rainbow color. So we are starting with a size 14 J20 Gamakatsu jig hook. And you can tell it's a jig hook because it has the down eye. And then I have a 7/64 gold slotted tungsten bead. And we want to make sure that that slot with the flat end is pointed down. So that's the correct position for that to be. We're going to start this fly with basically a Vivus iris in rainbow. You could also use like midge body in rainbow, but basically what you want is some sort of very flashy black iris thread. So I'm going to just get it started right here behind the back of the bead. And then we want to really get this bead in place because it's going to roll on us a lot if we don't. So what I typically do is I just grab a piece of .015 or .020 lead. And I put that slot down, and while holding it with my finger, I stick that piece of lead in there. And I just try to push it pretty hard so that it locks in there. And then I start to rotate my thread around that lead. And it really just kind of helps figure out where that lead should be without letting it turn too much. And then what I'm going to do is as I'm working the thread back, I'm going to just kind of rock that lead and eventually it'll come straight free. And you'll just have kind of a little bulb there on the end of your fly. So now what we're going to do is I'm going to focus real quickly on going about to the halfway mark and coming back, halfway mark and coming back, and halfway mark and coming back. And that really just kind of beefs that up so that it's more of a flat taper. And that helps us get our tapered body started. And then I will work this iris thread all the way back to almost the bend of the hook. I usually go a little bit shy here. Oh, you have to kind of be careful. This iris thread can kind of get spread apart. So I'm going to stop maybe right about there, come back 3 or 4 turns, and this is where I'm going to tie in our tail. Tail, we are going to use Coq de Leon fibers. These are ginger. I really like these light ones with the dark bottoms. They're just really easy to work with, and I think they look really good. So I'm going to pull 5 or so strands free. And I'm going to get them lined up in my fingers so that I have really pointy tail here. And I'm going to line it up so that I have about a half a shank length of tail. And then you want to do a pinch wrap. If you don't know what a pinch wrap is, it's basically very, very loose wrap before you actually close down on it. And what that helps you do is it helps you lock everything in right on top of the hook instead of having it kind of like come around the hook. So I'm going to do a pinch wrap. And then I'm going to work this back to where I want my tail to start, which is right about here. And do another pinch wrap there. Alrighty, perfect. So now we got our nice pointy Perdigon tail. And we're going to get some scissors and we're going to snip out those butt ends of the Perdigon. Just like so. And now we're all about building a taper. Perdigons aren't a particularly fat fly, but on a size 14, you're going to want to get them decent size. So I would say that generally looks like a good taper. You can see my bead actually turned there a little bit. I didn't have enough wire in there. That's all right. We can fix that. Not a problem. So I would say that's about the body size that I'm looking for. And what I want to do is I want to stop right about here. So I'm just building that up so that we have a really nice size rainbow body. And we're gonna whip finish out this rainbow thread right here behind the bead. And had I used maybe a little bit more lead or a little thicker piece of lead, that bead wouldn't have moved so far on us. So just make sure that slots down before you do this next part. I have a very similar thread. This is essentially the orange version of the Vivus Iris thread that we just used in Rainbow. So the orange version, just giving it like a little highlighter spot on the fly. So I'm gonna just kind of start wrapping that in here. And I'm gonna just trim. We got a little straggler right there. I don't know if I got it. No, I didn't. That's all right. We'll see if we can tie it down. There we go. Yeah, we got it. So I'm just making sure that that slots on the underside, which it is. And then we're building up this highlight portion of the fly, basically to the bead. So we want this to be pretty seamless with the bead. So you're going to do a lot of wraps right in the same spot here. And this is where the Perdigon really gets its cool shape. It almost just melts right into the bead there. So I always say, like, you know, if I've got a few wraps left like I do right here, I may stop here because a whip finish is going to add enough that I don't want it to bulk it up and make it look like it's not the right taper. So I'll start one right behind the bead, and then I'll work my whip finish tool a little bit back. And that way I don't have too many whip finish wraps in the same spot. And then I'll pull down on this, and then I'm going to trim this out close. Here we go, just like that. So that's our finished tied Perdigon. And then what I'm going to do is get some Solarez Bone Dry, and we are going to coat this fly. And we want to start with a pretty light coat. So we're just coating the body, a little bit of the bead. We're just getting all of that to kind of stand out on this fly. So this is not a full-blown coat job. Just a nice, even, smooth coating, making this whole fly look like it's just one seamless. So I would say that's about good, right in there. Then what I'm going to do is take my UV lamp, and I'm going to hit it. It'll only take about 10 seconds for this UV lamp to really settle in on this bone dry, and we'll make it absolutely bone dry, tack free. So once you've got that done, you can kind of feel the fly, just make sure everything feels good. Mine does. Then I'm just going to get a black marker, use a Sharpie. I like these big fat ones because they're just easy to work with. I'm going to turn the fly to me so you can see this, but I'm just building a little wing case right here on the back of the fly. So a lot of guys will use nail polish here. You can do the exact same thing with a black Sharpie. So just kind of coming over the sides just barely. Nothing too crazy, but we do want to kind of spread it out so that when you're looking at the top of the fly, you almost can't see the orange. So I'm going to start right about there. I think that's good. And then instead of using nail polish, I'm just going to give this a few minutes to dry, maybe a few seconds rather. Blow on it, wave on it, whatever you got to do. And then once you've got that Sharpie dry on top, you're going to take your bone dry and you're going to put some dabs of it right over the top of that Sharpie and a little bit down both sides. And that's going to build up a bit of a wing case for you and really make that black pop. And that's the goal. We want that to look like a wing case, not like just black marker on top. So now we're going to just hit it again with that UV light. And again, in 10 seconds or so, you've got a nice, dark, built-up wing case there. And it looks very, very buggy. Beautiful pattern. Tons of color in this. Lots of sparkle. Just an awesome looking pattern. Perdigons have been a favorite of mine. I'm getting really excited to fish with them more and more. And I can't wait to fish with this one. So I hope you guys really enjoyed this episode of tying a rainbow Nite Brite Perdigon. If you have any questions, please leave them down in the comments below. If you'd like to see any flies in the future, please let me know what those are in the comments below. And if you're new here, give me a subscribe or a like. You know, it really helps the channel go far and reach new viewers. And we just like to have fun here and build a community of good fishermen and anglers. So thanks so much, and we will catch you in another episode of Catching Colorado.
Thanks for watching the video. I really hope you enjoyed it. If you're interested in more relatable content, you can check out these videos right here. Oh, and don't forget to like and subscribe down below so you can stay updated on our next adventures.